Hey guys, I wanted to do a video to kind of show a new product I have, and there's two purposes. One is to show what I'm making and selling, and the other is to kind of show you the method and kind of review a product that I used to make it. So I'll get started. This is, let me see, let me show you. I am outside, so if you hear any noises, that's what's going on. This is a custom-made guitar pick, and it opens up, holds a pick. It'll probably hold. This version will probably hold about 2 or 3, maybe 4. It kind of depends on the leather you use. This is veg tan, which I tooled. This is 3 to 4 ounce. And then these are just more chrome tan leathers. This is, I think, an oil tan I have. And this is like a shell cordovan. But yeah, they attach to the keyring and allows you to keep 3 to 4 guitar picks with you. And they can be made basically with any color, any dye, and really the options to tool. You can put initials, you can put any other tooling pattern on it. Basically, the area to tool is basically up here. You could probably put some borders, and then the back has a nice, nice open space if you want to tool back there. So yeah, these are the new products I'm carrying. Let me kind of show you how I make these, and in the process kind of review the item that I use. So I'll put these aside for the moment, and I will show you the template. This is a template. It's acrylic. Let me zoom up on it a little bit more. If you look, it says guitar pick case, 4 to 5 ounce. And the company that I ordered from is blackriverlaser.com. You can see their website there. And I've looked at. They've been around for a while, and I've been looking at their stuff, and finally decided to give them, shoot them an email, and get a couple things ordered. So this is one of the items I received. There's a couple other that I will actually be posting more video reviews and showing the products I make, using them, and just kind of giving you some tips on how to use these. So I kind of wanted to show you a couple tips. First is it comes with, this comes out of there, but it comes with this extra piece here, and the idea of this piece is if you would cut it out, you can cut out a piece of leather, and basically it makes it thicker, right? So you would have, pretend that this acrylic glass was leather, you would have a thicker case, and essentially you would have a little thicker loop up here too. I actually don't use this piece yet. I may on a couple different projects, but I end up just using the main template. And the reason for that is, the cases I'm making right now, my plan is just for people to have 3 or 4 picks. If you're holding 10 picks maybe, or 8 to 10 picks, then you would probably need to use this piece here. So let me give you, let me just walk you through a couple tips. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. You basically would line it up, trace it, and cut it out. As it is, this part right here, the middle connector, which is this loop here, if you don't use the spacer, it can be kind of a tight fold. So one of the tips I recommend when I make these cases is I trace basically the bottom out here, and I like to use, this is a Precision V5 RT, but I like to use an extra fine point pen. If you can see that, it has kind of like a needle tip on it, and it comes in really handy when you're drawing this out to have basically the tightest line possible, and also when you want to mark the holes within here. If you choose to use a pen, you can also use a stylus, one with a sharp point, not a ballpoint stylus, to kind of mark on your leather. But the times I've tried that, especially on chrome tan leather, sometimes that mark fades away quickly as you're cutting it out. So I like to use a pen, and I prefer the fine tip, almost extra fine tip, to get into the holes. But what I was going to say is this part right here really becomes a really tight fold if you don't use this piece. So what I like to do is I actually will trace from here to here, and when I get to this point, see if I can mark it here. When I get to this point right here, I basically stop and end up moving the template up about a 1/4 inch, maybe 1/8 of an inch. It kind of depends on the leather. And then what happens is it creates this longer piece right here. And so if you line this up against the template, you'll see what I mean. You'll see how this part, if you can see that, is longer than this part. And the reason for that is I like to design it to hold the keyring. And there's different sizes of keyrings. I believe this is from Tandy. This is their 1/8. No, it's their 1 inch. This is their 1/8, 1 1/8 inch. But if you don't make this long and you don't use that spacer, this fold becomes a really tight fold like that, and getting a keyring to fit in loosely and nicely can be an issue. So that's how I recommend doing it if you want to put a keyring here. You could also put a keyring, and if you go to Black River Laser, I think they have an eBay site, you'll see that they also have it made something like this, where this part is really tight. It's not there's no keyring there, but the keyring is up here, and basically if you want you can unclip it, pull out the pick, close it back up. This is a nice design too, because what it allows is, if you have this keyring on your keychain, it allows you to remove the pick holder, and essentially pass it around or stick it in your guitar case or something, and then when you want you can just add it back on. So I'll probably end up making a couple versions with this, and I'll probably end up making a couple versions with this kind of removable keyring, so to speak. But anyway, so I'm going to show you the cutout basically, and once you have it cut out, I would strongly recommend that you punch, especially this one, you punch the hole and set the snap. On the template, they recommend, I don't know if you can see that, they recommend line 20 snaps, and I would have to agree. You could use what they call multi-purpose snaps or Sigma snaps or glove snaps, but those are not as strong as line 20 or line 24. Line 24 would probably be too large for something like this. It might just be a really tight fit. So line 20 snaps are definitely the way to go. And this is a piece of chrome tanned that I've been cutting out. And basically, once you're done cutting it, you sand it. If you want, you can put an edge coat on it or a finish, and you can burnish it a little bit. Chrome tan is a little bit harder to burnish. But if you can use veg tan. This is 3 to 4 ounce, and you can see I ended up burnishing and edge finishing, the product. So yeah, and really one of the nice things about this is, if you look, this is my grid line here. This is 1 inch squares. If you look, at the most you need a 2-inch piece of leather, which would have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, about 6 inches. A 2 by 6 inch piece of leather, which is basically this piece right here. The nice thing about this is, if you have scrap left over from a main project, or just if you can't afford to buy large pieces of leather and you want to make a product, it's really a nice product that can show your tooling off, and you can show some of your hardware that you have, and it doesn't require too much leather to use. So anyway, it's a really nice product. I have a couple other things I will be reviewing from Black River Laser. That's for another video though. I just wanted to show you this, and just the kind of the potential that you have, with just that template. I do want to recommend, if you decide to use, this leather, for example, this chrome tanned, but it's still pretty firm, if you can kind of see that or not. And even this one here, which is probably 3 to 4 ounces, maybe less, but it still has a certain firmness to it. I would advise against using upholstery type leather that's really thin, and the reason for that is, when you set a line 20 snap in really thin upholstery leather, you get this effect right here. I don't know if you can see that, but it starts to pull, and of course then you can pull it off, but eventually over time this will get a tear in it. So if you're using really soft leather to make these cases, then you may want to go with using those segment snaps or glove snaps. But really, I recommend just using, if you're going to use chrome tanned, is to use something that's a little bit firmer and doesn't have as much give or flexibility. Anyway, I'm marking the holes. You can use a needle to punch them, or they also make tandy saws. It's called a stitch wheel. Basically, it's a hole punch with a cylinder shape on it, and it has really small stitch lines. And for chrome tanned leather, that's what I like to use to mark the holes, because it punches nice clean holes. On a veg tan piece, I end up gluing it all and then marking the holes and using a needle awl, and then hand stitching it using a saddle stitch. Anyway guys, I hope this has been kind of informative. I'm going to kind of show you the product and review it a little bit, and just kind of show you what my latest projects are. And if you're interested in purchasing any guitar pick holders custom made and you are not a leather crafter, just send me a message, and I'll see what I can do. Otherwise, if you're a leather crafter, I strongly recommend a product like this. Just to, when you have spare time or when you have scrap pieces that you want to make a little extra project with, it really works well. Anyway, if you have any questions or comments, leave a message for me. And like I said, I'll be reviewing a couple more items from Black River Laser. They have some really cool acrylic products that are really handy. So over the next couple weeks, I'll be posting videos kind of showing you a project I've done with using the template, and also just kind of giving you some tips on how to use them. Thanks a lot. Take care.